Hey guys, it's KoBaC again, and welcome to another Halo 3 action figure review. Yes, I haven't done one of these in a couple of months, and just figured I need to do one. Haven't done one in a while. So why not do the Brute Stalker from Series 2? Awesome figure. I'm really impressed with it overall. I really like it. Except for the fact that it's a Brute Stalker and not like a regular Brute. But that's okay because they're coming out with a new Brute that's Brute Guard, I think they called them. They're from the next series that comes out in September, so it'll make up for it. So by the time Series 2 came out, the only Brutes that we had was the Brute Chieftain. Now at this point we have the Brute Chieftain, the Brute War Chieftain, the Brute Stalker, and why do I feel like oh yeah, the Brute Jump Pack. So we've had 4. However, none of them are actually the common soldier. This Brute Stalker happens to be, if you remember from Halo 3, they are the like the special ops guys. They could go invisible and they would sneak up on you, and they're not so fun if you're playing like on Legendary and they sneak up on you and just start spraying you with the spiker rifles. But yes, overall this figure is really awesome. The Brutes have a ton of articulation just covered in it. It's like they took a big bucket full of posability and just like, we'll pour it all over on them. So yes, we'll go ahead and show you some of that. It's just me, sorry. I will show you some of that. Alright, so as normal, there are articulations. We'll just start at the head. Right here in the head, shoulder, another point right here in the upper arm, at the elbow, at the hands, a little bit in the waist, right there. Now there's actually a lot of points here at the leg. You got one right here near the groin, the hip, the upper leg, knee, and then the foot. I mean, these guys have just covered in articulation. So yeah, for the arms, they can go really high up, also really far out. For crossing over, you got to play with it a bit, but it can only really cross over to about that much, getting in front of him, which is kind of a downside. His legs, since they have so many joints, you're going to have to play with it a little bit when you first get it, because I have a couple Brute Stalkers now and a Brute War Chieftain, so I know that sometimes when you get their legs, sometimes their joints are for some reason pointed backwards. So you have to kind of flip the leg around, rotate all this stuff. It's like clockwork with so many different joints, and then it ends up being okay. His legs, if you have the joints set to the right direction, can go pretty far out, and they can go that far forward. They can rotate pretty far back. Not the greatest, but like I said, you have to kind of play with it. Since they have so many joints, you just rotate things around and then it'll stand better. I'm sorry that this review kind of sucks. For weapons, he comes with 2 spiker rifles, and that's it. I would not recommend, under any circumstance, to pull the spiker rifles out of his hands, unless you know a couple of tricks, which there are, like with a blow dryer and hot water, to be able to make the plastic more, I'll just use the word bendable, so that you can kind of bend the plastic without breaking it, because his fingers are such thick, meaty, plasticky, hard sausages, it's very difficult to get him to let go of his gun. Zzz. So thankfully, the Brute Stalker actually was holding his guns, instead of now when they give you certain figures, they're not holding their weapons, and they're really a pain in the butt to get in their arms. Yeah, like the Elites that have the new hinge hands, but they come with a carbine. I still can't get the carbine in his hand! Anyway, sorry, going back to being mad. The spiker rifles, you can get other characters to hold them, but I don't know. If I were you, I would leave the spiker rifles in his hands, unless you have the money to buy another one, just on the off chance you do break his finger, because you don't want to do that. That would be bad. And remember, the guns for Halo 3 figures are they're worse than the hands, because the hands are a little bit bendable. The guns, they don't give you nothing. They will just snap. That'd be it. That'd be the end of it. One other thing before I forget, the helmet does come off. I can show you here. You see, his helmet comes off, and oop! There's Mr. Brute. Yes, he has a goatee. Not a beard, though. He can't grow a beard, but goatee. His head can go up and down. Like, yes, look at him. He's so brutey. And they put a little bit of blood in his mouth, or just red mouth, so it makes it look like he's been eating people. Sometimes the helmets are a little mean. They don't want to stick on. I just use some mounting putty or sticky tack to just, like, keep it on there. I would not, though. Whoa, I need to tell you. Don't use clay on these guys. No. It will remove the paint. I don't know if it doesn't do it so much like instantly, but like if you let it sit. That was what I did with the stop motion. I was using a brute. I put some clay on his head, to keep the helmet on, and just left it there for a couple days. Well, when I decided to take the clay off, I noticed that the paint will come off. So I have one brute that's actually going bald. So, okay, don't repeat what I did wrong, alright? If you wanted to take the brute rifle, the spike rifle off for some odd reason, they do come with the weapon holes for the pegs, so you can put them on places. And he actually can put one on his leg, not on his back though, not on his back, but one on his leg. He can do the leg. So yes, this is the brute stalker in all of his awesomity. That just made up a word that didn't make sense. So yes, overall, I would give him a 4.5 out of 5. I would like to give him a 5, but I don't know, there's something kind of missing. It's probably the fact that with the joints being all backwards, if you got this for a kid or someone who doesn't really have a lot of patience, he has the possibility of breaking. And nobody wants to get a figure with the leg joints, pointed in the opposite direction. That would just totally bum me out. I mean, especially at this point, they're probably not very cheap to find on eBay. I mean, they're probably average. But overall, I like it. I would have liked it a little bit more if the arms would cross over a little bit more. Because, I'll show you real quick. That is like a normal gun pose for him. His guns are pointed forward, but I mean, the problem is, like, if I wanted to pick him... Alright, we'll try with the left arm. If I wanted to... Yeah, see the helmet pops off? If I wanted to have his gun pointed out so that it was pointed, straight out, he can't do that. The only way he can do it is kind of keeping his arm up and pointing, to the side and then out. So that's the thing I don't like. I don't like that the arms are like that. I really wish that I were able to point his gun forward, like with the elites and, Spartans. But that's the biggest problem I have with it. Overall, really good figure. They did a really good job sculpting it. The paint job is, really good. But yes, the only thing is really the arms are what I get a little irritated with. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have like any articulation in the waist, but I mean, he's covered in articulation other than that. So yes, if you're looking to get a brute stalker or some more common brutes, this guy is really awesome for stop motions. I'm really looking forward to using it. And yes, so thank you guys for watching. Ta-ta.